Let's start with a quiet truth you already feel in your bones. You are not your habits. You repeat them, you fall into them, you even defend them sometimes, but they are not you. They're patterns you've learned, grooves cut by repetition, and emotion, shortcuts the mind uses to save energy. If those patterns no longer serve you, you can redraw them. And if you're here, listening to this, you're already doing something powerful. You're taking a breath between impulse and action, and choosing to ask, is there a better way? Bad habits cost us more than time. They cost clarity. They cost confidence. They cost the quiet pride that comes from living as the person you know you could be. Maybe you want to stop doom scrolling at midnight. Maybe you want to drink less, or stop snapping at your partner, or stop procrastinating until stress is the only motivation left. Whatever your version is, the challenge is the same. How do you reclaim your agency in the moment the habit wants to take over? How do you become the kind of person who chooses well, especially when no one is watching? Stoicism offers a way, not an abstract philosophy to admire from afar, but a working toolkit you can carry into your kitchen at 10 p.m., into your office when the inbox floods, into your quietest fears and loudest cravings. The Stoics were practical. They trained for life. Their aim wasn't to sound wise, it was to live free. And freedom, in their view, begins with how you handle impressions, desires, and choices in the smallest moments. In this audiobook, I'll walk with you through a Stoic path for breaking bad habits. We won't rely on shame or willpower myths. We'll build skill. We'll talk about attention, control, reframing desire, training the pause, replacing routines, building accountability, and sustaining change. I'll speak to you as a teacher would speak to a student, gently, honestly, with respect for your strength. I'll ask you questions meant to wake up the best in you. I'll invite you to practice, not just to think, and together we'll shape a simple promise to live today a little more intentionally than yesterday. Ready? Take a breath. Feel your feet on the floor, the weight of your body, the air in your chest. This is your life. This moment is yours. Let's begin. Part 1. See clearly. The habit begins as an impression. Every action begins as a spark in the mind, an impression, a small mental picture, a quick thought with a feeling attached. The Stoics advised, pause and examine the impression. Don't run with it automatically. You see the cookie, your mind says, that would fix my mood. You see the phone, your mind says, 5 minutes won't hurt. You feel a pang of boredom. Your mind whispers, let's scroll. Notice what happens before you move. That's where your freedom lives. So here is our first practice. Name the moment when the urge rises. Say silently if you must, an urge is here. Not, I am weak. Not, I always fail. Just, an urge is here. You are stepping back a half inch to look. Can you feel how different that is? You're not inside the wave. You're noticing a wave is passing through. In everyday language, this is attention. In the language of Stoic training, it's vigilant awareness, eyes open, present, discerning. How do you build this awareness when life is noisy? Use the simplest tool we have, journaling. No need to write long essays. Each evening, jot down 3 data points. What did I do today that I didn't intend to do? What did I intend to do? Avoid. What feeling or situation stood right before each? You're building a map. You're not hunting for guilt, you're hunting for patterns. Maybe late evening always has the same pattern: fatigue, loneliness, phone. Maybe the afternoon slump arrives at the same time, and with it comes sugar. Maybe a tough conversation flips the switch, and you reach for sarcasm or a cigarette. Once you can see the chain trigger, thought, feeling, action, you're not walking in the dark anymore. And here's a little test you can try today. In a moment of mild temptation, say to yourself, let me see the whole picture. Picture the urge, picture the action, picture the aftermath, how you feel 15 minutes later. Does this habit give you what it promises? Or does it offer you a small escape now and a bigger cost later? Seeing does not magically dissolve the habit, but it weakens the illusion that the habit is your friend. One more thing, don't argue with the urge. Observe it. Arguing is still a way of obeying. Observation is a way of reclaiming your mind. A cloud passes, a wave swells and then falls. Tell yourself this truth: this urge is temporary, I am not. Let that be your first foothold. Part 2. Focus on what you control. Choice, not circumstance. If awareness is the first foothold, the second is the Stoic compass. Focus on what is up to you, not everything. Not the cravings your body learned years ago, not your co-workers, bad mood, or the ads designed to hijack your attention. But this moment's choice, that is yours. Your response, yours. Your plan, yours. Your willingness to begin again after a wobble, still yours. When you make progress on habits, you will feel the gravitational pull of things outside your control. My job is stressful. My friends drink. My family eats this way. The world is so distracting. All true, perhaps. And yet, if you make those facts the star of the story, you will sit in the audience while your life unfolds on stage without you. The Stoic move is to shift the spotlight. Ask, given all that I can't control, what is still mine to choose today? Here is a simple way to practice. Shrink the time horizon. Don't promise to be perfect forever. Promise to be faithful for one day, or 1 hour, or one urge. Today, just for today. I won't negotiate with this habit, or for the next 10 minutes, I'll ride this urge like a surfer rides a wave. Why does this work? Because the mind is a master negotiator when the commitment is vague and long, but it has far less leverage when the goal is small and immediate. The Stoics often trained in short, intense bursts of attention and discipline, knowing that mountains are climbed one careful step at a time. Also, define your choice in terms of behavior, not identity. Instead of I must become the kind of person who never, say, in this moment, I will do X instead of Y. Identity will catch up to repeated action. Let behavior lead. Let identity follow. And remember, your goal is not to feel and control it, is to act on what you can control even when you don't feel like it. To make this practical, craft a sentence you can use as a shield, something like, I choose my actions, not my urges, or I keep the promise I made to myself this morning. Repeat it out loud when you're alone. Whisper it when you're not. You are reinforcing a posture. I decide. Does this sound too simple? Good. Most effective practices are. The complexity sits in the repetition. The wisdom is in not demanding that it be more dramatic. If you only did this focused on the next choice, the next breath, the next urge, you would already be walking the Stoic path. Part 3. Reframe Desire. Want what truly serves you. Every bad habit offers something real in the short term: comfort, distraction, relief, stimulation, or relief from boredom or pain. Stoicism doesn't deny this. It questions the trade. The question is not, is this pleasant? The question is, does this align with my deeper values? Does it serve the person I'm trying to become? Once you shift questions, you shift desires. The thing you want becomes the thing that truly supports your well-being. Try this thought experiment. Whenever a strong urge comes, picture 2 doors. Door 1 is the habit. Door 2 is an alternative aligned with your values. Before you touch a handle, say out loud, if I choose door 1, I am choosing how I feel 15 minutes after. Then ask, what do I want? It's a paradox, but a liberating one. You're not just obeying the old want, you're training the new one. Another Stoic move is to practice negative visualization, not fear-mongering, but clarity. Imagine the ripple effects of repeating the habit for another year. How does your body feel? How does your mind relate to itself? How do your relationships bear the weight? Then imagine the ripple effects of interrupting the habit today, then tomorrow, then again. What freedom accumulates? What confidence returns? What quiet self-respect grows in the background like a tree? You may be thinking, but my cravings don't care about philosophy. True. That's why we translate the philosophy into images your body can understand. For example, imagine your urge as a salesperson. They speak fast. They offer discounts. They promise no consequences. Your job is not to fight the salesperson. It's to recognize the pitch. Here comes the late-night pitch. One more episode. You deserve it. When you see the pitch, it loses its magic. You might still buy sometimes, but you'll do so with your eyes open, and that alone changes the rate of purchase. A practical exercise. Make a short list, written and visible, of what you truly value: health, patience, steadiness, presence, kindness, creativity. Don't make it grand, make it honest. Then link each value to a simple present tense action. Health: I stop eating 2 hours before bed. Presence, I keep the phone out of the bedroom. Kindness, I pause before speaking when I'm tired. Now, when the urge arrives, you have a counter desire ready. You're not just saying no, you're saying yes to something else. Over time, as you repeat a values-based choice, the emotional weight shifts. The alternative becomes your new default. You won't always feel a rush of victory. Often you'll feel something quieter, like putting a brick in a wall. One brick, then another. But walls are built that way. And a life that reflects your values is worth 1,000 impulsive pleasures. Part 4. Train the pause, the space where freedom lives. There's a space between the first spark of an urge and the action that follows. In that space lies your chance to reroute the habit. We're going to expand that space. How? With protocols. You can practice when calm and use theme when it matters. Start with breath, not as a cliche, but as a lever. When the urge hits, exhale slowly. Let your shoulders drop. Take a slow inhale through the nose and a longer exhale through the mouth. Do this 3 times. Why the exhale emphasis? Because lengthening the out-breath helps settle the body. You're telling your nervous system, we are safe. When your body believes it's safe, the rational part of your mind can get a word in. Next, label what's happening. Craving is here. I feel boredom rising. I'm looking for escape. No judgment, just labeling. Labels are handles. They give you something to hold. Then ask a simple question. What outcome do I want 15 minutes from now? While you hold that image, add a physical micro delay. Count backward from 10. Or close your eyes for 5 seconds. Or take a sip of water. Or stand up and stretch. You're training your nervous system to tolerate a tiny gap without obeying the urge. This is the martial art of habit change. You're softening the attack, redirecting its energy, and responding instead of reacting. Let's make this even more concrete with thin plans. Write down 3 scripts. If I feel the pull to scroll, then I plug my phone in the hallway and drink a glass of water. If I feel the urge to procrastinate, then I set a 5-minute timer and begin the easiest part. Asterisk, if I feel irritability rising, then I lower my voice and by time I need a minute, I'll respond after a short walk. You're rehearsing a replacement behavior so your brain doesn't stall in the pause. The Stoics trained this way. They prepared themselves with phrases, with images, with small rites that turned principles into reflexes. Now, what if the urge is strong? Picture it like a wave. Your job is to surf, not to crush the ocean. Notice where you feel it in the chest, the stomach, the jaw. Breathe into that place. Say, this rises and falls. Time it. Usually, the intense phase passes in 90 seconds if you don't feed it with attention or action. Can you give yourself 90 seconds? You can. And when you do, you'll learn something priceless. You can feel a feeling fully and still choose your path. Finally, adopt a mantra that meets you in the pause. Something simple, not now, or I choose what I repeat, or be the person I promised to be this morning. Use it the way a climber uses a handhold. It won't carry you by itself, but it will help you lift your weight over the moment that used to defeat you. Part 5. Replace. Don't just remove. Designing the better path. Nature hates a vacuum, and so do habits. If you merely rip out a routine, the mind will search for a substitute, often the nearest easy comfort. So we don't just subtract, we substitute with intention. We design the path so the good choice is frictionless and the bad choice is a little heavier. Start with the environment. If late night snacking is your trap, don't fight in the kitchen at midnight. Fight at the grocery store at 3 p.m. If your phone steals your morning, don't fight in bed at 6 a.m. Fight at 10 p.m. by charging it outside the bedroom. If alcohol is the problem, don't rely on a midnight promise. Remove the bottles from the house. You're not weak for doing this. You're wise. You're arranging your surroundings to reflect your values. Then create rituals. Rituals anchor identity. A morning ritual that begins with 5 minutes of quiet, a page of journaling, and water before coffee is not just a routine. It's you declaring, I begin by stirring my mind. An evening ritual with a short walk, a screen curfew, and a 2-sentence review is not just hygiene, it's dignity. In both cases, you are setting the rails for the train of your day. Think about replacement behaviors that answer the same need. Faith bad habit answers. If stress fuels your snacking, Design a stress circuit, 5 deep breaths, 20 push-ups, a short stretch, a glass of water, then a return to work. If loneliness fuels your scrolling, schedule a human connection on purpose, a call to a friend, a message to a mentor, a quick voice note to someone you love. If boredom fuels your vice, create a boredom menu, a book within reach, a puzzle app that trains your mind without hooking it, a short list of creative mini tasks that give you a productive hit. You might say, "But I don't have time for all this." I hear you. So start small. Choose one habit, choose one trigger, choose one replacement. Repeat it until the groove is visible in your day. The point is not to become a machine. The point is to make your values more automatic than your vices. 1. More practical tip: celebrate clean victories. Not with sugar after skipping sugar. Not with shopping after skipping shopping. Celebrate with acknowledgement. Put an X on the calendar every day you kept your promise. Send yourself a simple text: kept the evening phone curfew. It might seem silly, it isn't. You're teaching your brain to enjoy integrity. That feeling quiet, steady, deeply earned outlasts the thrill of the bad habit by miles. Part 6. Don't go alone. Companions, honesty, and accountability. The Stoics wrote about friendship as a training ground for virtue. A true friend helps you become good and helps you stay good. If you've tried to change habits alone and stalled, consider that you might not be a solo project. Bring someone in, not to police you, but to walk with you. Pick one person you trust. Explain clearly, "I am breaking this habit. I don't need lectures, I need check-ins. I will report daily for 2 weeks. If I miss a day, ask me how I want." To get back on track, set a time. Keep it short. If your pride resists, that's a sign you need it. Accountability turns foggy intentions into visible commitments. You can also create public promises that don't feel performative. For example, write a simple card and tape it to your desk. Phone stays out of the bedroom. Let your partner see it. Or, if you live alone, say your promise out loud at the same time each day. The voice matters, words spoken into the air carry weight, your inner monologue does not. What about when you fail? Because you will. Not because you're defective, but because you're human. The Stoic response is neither self-flagellation nor shrugging. It's a sober review and a fast return. Ask 3 questions. What precisely led to the slip? What did I learn about my triggers and stories? What change will I make immediately to protect the next attempt? Then move, don't wallow. Don't build a dramatic narrative. One action of repair is worth 1,000 words of regret. And practice mercy, not the kind that excuses you into stagnation, but the kind that keeps you from quitting when you've already paid enough. A harsh inner voice rarely produces consistent virtue. It produces secret rebellion. A firm and fair inner coach, one who expects much and forgives quickly, produces progress. Finally, consider community not just as accountability but as nourishment. Join a group that trains the qualities you want: a running club, a meditation circle, a volunteer team. Spend time with people who want what you want: health, steadiness, discipline, kindness. The air you breathe together will make the good habits feel normal, and that is a quiet miracle. Part 7. Sustain the change from streaks to identity. We've built awareness. We've clarified control. We've reframed desire. We've trained the pause. We've replaced the routine. We've invited companions. Now we sustain. Streaks are exciting, but identity is what lasts. So let's talk about becoming the person for whom the good habits feel like home. First, adopt the mindset of practice. In Stoic training, the word practice mattered. They didn't expect to be flawless. They expected to show up daily. When they fell short, they adjusted and returned. It's the same with you. You are not graduating from temptation. You are getting better at meeting it. This reframing turns every day into an opportunity to refine your craft. Second, keep a simple evening review. 5 minutes, not 15. Ask, where did I keep my promise today? Where did I bend? What one tweak will I make tomorrow? Write it. Close the review with gratitude, not as decoration, but as fuel. Gratitude reminds you why you're changing. It shifts your attention from what you're losing to what you're gaining: energy, steadiness, self-trust. Third, guard against the 2 classic traps of success: complacency and compensation. Complacency says, "I'm doing great," I can relax. Compensation says, I did well. I deserve a break from my rules. Both open the door for the old habit to return, dressed as a reward. You don't combat this with paranoia. You combat it with humility and clarity. Humility says, I'm not above slipping. Clarity says, I like the person I am when I keep this promise. Together, they keep you steady. Fourth, evolve the habit as you grow. Maybe you begin with a strict rule: no phone after 9 p.m. because you need hard edges. Later, you might relax it intelligently for special occasions. Or maybe you start with a 5-minute morning ritual and grow it to 15 because you love it. Keep the spirit, adjust the form. Rigidity without reflection breaks. Flexibility without principles dissolves. We want principled flexibility. Fifth, periodically refresh your why. Write a new note to yourself every month. Why am I living this way? Include what you've gained. Better sleep, kinder mornings, fewer regrets, more energy, deeper presence with people you love. Let the real benefits speak. We often underestimate how much positive feedback we need. Give it to yourself on purpose. And if a setback stretches into a season, don't dramatize it. Restart as if this were your first day. Shrink the horizon. Tighten the environment. Call your accountability partner and gather a small win within the next hour. Momentum doesn't return by thinking, it returns by doing. You've done it before. You'll do it again. Part 8. A story you can step into. Imagine a person much like you call her Alex. Nights used to be the danger zone. She would sit on the couch, phone in hand, a bag of snacks nearby. The intention to read or sleep early dissolved into just one more. The mornings felt heavy, like she was carrying her broken promises in a backpack. She didn't wake up one day as a new person. She practiced. She began with awareness each evening. She noted the exact time the drift began. She saw that it wasn't 10 p.m. It was exactly the moment she finished cleaning the kitchen. The space after work felt uncomfortable. The phone stepped in as a soothing friend. Next, she focused on control. She couldn't change her job yet. She couldn't change the constant flow of online novelty. But she could change what sat in the living room. The phone moved to a charging station in the hallway. A book moved to the couch armrest. Seltzer water took the place of sugary snacks. She reframed desire. Do I want this? She asked. When the urge came, she pictured herself at 6:30 a.m. rested, calm, proud. That image became sweeter than the late-night scroll. She trained the pause. When her hand twitched toward the hallway, she breathed. She waited 90 seconds. Sometimes she still grabbed the phone. Sometimes she returned to the couch and opened the book. But a new pattern was forming, one tiny pause at a time. She replaced the routine. After the kitchen, she would light a candle, make tea, and read 10 pages. Same time, same chair. The ritual grew roots. The calm grew roots. Some nights she didn't want to do it, but the start was so easy. Tea, candle, book that she often slid into it before her mind could argue. She didn't go alone. She told her sister, text me at 9:30. Ask what chapter I'm on. The first few nights, the text saved her. Later, pride did. Chapter 5, she would reply, smiling as she typed. She sustained. She kept a short nightly review. She celebrated 20 clean nights with a hiking trip and experience, not an escape. She loosened the ritual once a week for a movie with a friend. But the phone stayed in the hallway. That rule became a kindness. One night, months later, she relapsed. Stress, a fight, a lonely feeling. She binged. She slept late. The old backpack returned for a morning. Was it over? No. She reviewed without drama. Adjusted one piece. She shortened the kitchen cleanup so the gap between chores and reading was smaller and restarted that night. One slip became a lesson, not a story. Alex's life didn't become perfect, but it became hers. She didn't just break a habit. She gained something rare, a quiet trust in her word. That trust changed more than her evenings. It changed how she spoke at work, how she listened to people she loved, and how she walked through uncertainty. That is the deeper promise of this path. You can step into this story. Change the names. Keep the practices. If you remember one thing from this time together, let it be this: your freedom sits in small, Repeatable choices made with clear eyes and a steady heart. You don't need a heroic personality to break bad habits. You need a few simple skills. Practiced faithfully, notice the impression, choose what's in your control. Reframe desire toward what truly serves you. Expand the pause, replace the routine. Walk with companions, and sustain the identity through humble practice. So here is your invitation. Just today pick one habit. Name the smallest moment where it begins. Decisiononi if then plan. Put one obstacle between you and the habit. Put one aid between you and your better choice. Tell one person you trust, and tonight, take 5 minutes to review with fairness and gratitude. Then rest. Will there be friction? Of course. Will there be days you feel like you're swimming against a current? Certainly. But currents can be crossed one strong stroke at a time. And every time you keep a promise to yourself, you become a little more the person you respect. That feeling is not flashy, but it is powerful. It is the foundation of a good life. As we close, take another breath, feel your feet. The urge to change that brought you here is not a random spark, it's your deeper self knocking, asking to be let out into the open air. Open the door, step into the day with gentleness and resolve. When the old habit calls, meet it with your new voice. I choose what I repeat. And then quietly, simply choose well. I'm proud of you for listening, for considering, for beginning. Remember, practice, not perfection. Direction, not drama. Today is enough. And if you want a blessing to carry with you, take this one. May you see clearly. May you act on what is yours to choose. May your values become your habits, and may your habits become your freedom.